Hello, everybody. Welcome to my first podcast. It's been a long time coming, and I'm really excited to finally get started. I've been thinking about having my own podcast and doing a lot of different things. So, this is just me finally taking action, finally doing what I've been wanting to do for a while. Shout out to Manny Carrera. He actually was the OG of podcasts back in the day. Him and I and Violet actually probably did 40 episodes for him. And I saw all the success he got and all the recognition he got just from doing a podcast. And it's an underrated thing. Whether you subscribe to some podcasts, I'm a big time Joe Rogan fan and Aubrey Marcus. Those are the top two I usually listen, and Tim Ferriss's podcast as well. I've been able to learn so much from just listening to great men talk. And I hope to have guests on the show. I hope to be guest on others' shows. But mainly, who am I? Why does it matter? Why do you care? Maybe you've known me throughout the years. Maybe you've worked with me. Or I want to provide value in the forms of life transformation coaching. That's something that I've been able to have in my life for the last 3 years, and in fact actually since I was 18. So shout out to Gabe Terrasses and David Dussault and their whole URA system. In other words, I'm not self-made. I've been able to glean from a lot of great mentors and a lot of great men, and I feel like my life is at a point where I want to give back and contribute. I feel like my life is at a point where I'm looking for significance. I've gotten success, financial success, relationship success. I'm happily married to my best friend Violet, and my health and wealth and things are just going good in my life that I feel like I'm overflowing. I feel like my life has gotten to that level of contribution now. And of course, there's always room for improvement. I'm not comparing myself to Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, but I am who I am and can contribute to those who can relate to me specifically. I'm from El Paso, Texas. Proudly, I miss that place. I miss the culture of being from El Paso, and lived there for about 6 years. And I turned into a coconut when my stepdad Hector and my mom moved us to Nebraska. Lived in Nebraska for 6-7 years and became Americanized. I had friends that would call me Louis, and my first name's Luis. I had a big identity culture shock in Nebraska, but it shaped who I was. Living with my stepdad, Hector, he also was very Eurocentric and traditional. So if I would have grew up with my biological dad, I would have grew up extremely Mexican. He is from Mexico and still mainly speaks Spanish. I moved to Round Rock, then I moved to Georgetown and went to school in Georgetown and had my identity shifts there. I mainly played soccer and had developed some amazing friends in Georgetown, and moved back to El Paso, Texas. Met some incredible men like Gabe Terrasses and David Dussault, and that set me on an entrepreneurial path. I knew that I wanted to work for myself and be a coach or be an entrepreneur and have a business and build a team. And I felt like I got to a bottleneck, and in future podcasts I'll go into more detail, but at 25 years old I read some powerful books like Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek. That changed my life. The 4-Hour Workweek, if you haven't read it, if you want some freedom in your mindset and your lifestyle, highly recommend that. The 4-Hour Workweek just taught me how to achieve my dreams and goals right now instead of waiting for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. How to enjoy that right now. So I wanted to travel. That was my number one paradigm for success, that traveling the world means you are a success. But what I was doing was not getting me there. So I had to completely change and give up my livelihood, my lifestyle, my business in El Paso. And at around the same time, I met the most wonderful person, Violet, and she was able to go on the journey with me and support me. As crazy as it was, she just had as big of a dreams as I was, and she was as ambitious as I was. And she and I sold everything when we were 25 and bought a one-way ticket to Bali. It's pretty exciting. So if you want some links to that. I'll put it on the description and a little card there to see our vlogging journeys when we went to be nomadic for as much as about 9 to 10 months. We backpacked throughout different countries and ultimately stayed in Bali for about a month, saw South Korea, actually stopped in Japan, and lived in Hawaii, of all places. We didn't want to just come back to the United States, and we had some friends who were living in Eva Beach, Hawaii, and thank you, Marshall and Christina, and they let us live with them for a while, and we ended up moving every 3 months to different parts of the islands, and it was exciting. It was fun. We got to live the island life and the really slow life, and I essentially went through a whole life transformation. I reinvented myself through having that much free time and that much time to reflect. In Bali is where I met my life coach. If you want to see a podcast we did 3 years ago, I'll link that up there too. And he's been life-changing. He has helped me become a financial success and a career success and relationship success. And anytime I have questions and guidance, I definitely ask him questions. And Gus is always available as well if you're looking for a coach. And COVID happened. We decided to come back to the United States, to the mainland is what they call it. And we decided to get a regular job, and Violet to finish school, and I was supporting her through that. And I knew I wanted to be in sales and make a lot of money as a stepping stone, because what I ultimately really want to do is be a life coach, be a podcaster, be a thought leader, philosopher. I want to have free time to be creative, to play music, to do art, to build things, to live the slow life. And I have a high drive and ambition, so I want to have a high quality of life as well. I want to have the nice things and the luxuries. So I want it all. I want to do it all. And in this podcast and my YouTube channel, I want to vlog and document that kind of journey. By no means I feel like I've arrived. And got into car business. It was tough at first. I had a lot of mindset and success training, so I knew it was just a matter of time. And I'll be transparent with numbers. I got to making about $5,000 and $6,000 per month at my first country dealership with the Ford product, and I loved it, and I learned about trucks, and it was fun and amazing. I got comfortable, but I heard whispers and stories that there's more money to be made in the bigger city. And I guess I was always drawn to the bigger city, so I decided to get out of my comfort zone and look for a bigger dealership. So I ended up working at Toyota, and it was a big time challenge. I was 1 out of 50 salespeople there, and I had to really dig deep and hone in on my skills, because for the first 3 months I wasn't really making much, and I was overworked. We would get out of work like at 9 or 10 p.m. and you'd go in at 7 a.m. sometimes, and it was just a lot of hours, and it was a grind. But after 5 or 6 months, I just started having the success, right? Sales is like farming, and I was sowing the seeds, and I was getting good at sales, and had my first $10,000 month, and that blew me away, because that's why I got into the car business, was to make lots of money in the shortest amount of time. And I had debts. I didn't really save money, so I just felt like I was behind the 8 ball financially. So I just wanted to succeed as fast as I could. Rather than getting a new job right away, I took it as my excuse to just take some time off. I went back to serving at a restaurant, fine dining steakhouse, and I was just trying to figure out if I wanted to go back into car sales. I wanted to figure out, like, it's so hard to break into a new dealership. I was wondering if I really wanted to do that all over again at a new dealership. So my reasoning was, you know what? I want to find something that makes me happy and fulfilled. So I started working on my life coaching. I started working on building in a finances course, and we did, and we had a webinar, we sold some, but it was challenging, and needless to say, I didn't have the right experience yet, the right time, the guidance, and not enough money to really make a business happen successfully online. Along the while, I decided to take up some passion projects and I became a soccer coach. I wanted to be like Pep Guardiola and lead the, Premier League, but I knew I had to start somewhere, and I ended up coaching little kids, 5, 6 years old. And it was a time of my life. I loved working with little kids. It was awesome. I have so many stories about that. But I just wasn't making enough money. And it was stressful, not making enough. Living with my sisters-in-laws as roommates because I wasn't making enough, wasn't cutting it. The traveling for a year really set me back financially and structurally. Like, I didn't really have much to stand on, so I was starting from scratch. I was enjoying my free time, enjoying the passion projects, enjoying my hobbies, but financially we were not getting ahead. And Violet was still finishing up school, so my stubborn ass had to have a tragedy come into my life to really learn. And luckily I have such an amazing woman who draws just the greatness out of me. And the tragedy was my car got stolen. I was so lazy, and it's kind of a theme. If I'm not fanatically disciplined, laziness can get me, and the lazy donkey has to work twice. So I left my spare key in the middle of my car, like the cup holders. And we lived in a ghetto kind of apartment area, and someone stole it. And it was our only car, so we were stressing. 2 days go by, haven't heard from anybody, the police, nobody's heard of where the car is, and we're stranded, borrowing my siblings' cars to work. By the third day, me and Violet had an argument. She said, we're not making it, we're not doing it, like, we're at rock bottom. I need to get a different job. I need to make more money. And so that was early November, mid-November. So I started sending my resume out there. I can be thick-headed. I think men are in general, but guys can be thick-headed, or, I got comfortable with my free time, and I knew I had to trade in that free time for money. And, but a man will do what a man has to do, especially to provide for his family and to get him into a better situation. So I went back into car business. I was about to work at Kia, and I did the drug test and everything, and I was good to go for Kia. And luckily, the day before I was about to start at Kia, I got a call from my GM, RG, love you, called me to work for Audi. And since then, it's been incredible. I started there in December, and it took forever for me to actually get the ball rolling. I had weeks of just sitting there, not doing anything at Audi. So I felt like I made it being there at a luxury dealership, which is hard to do. I would say most people are set in stone and tenured in luxury dealerships. First 3 weeks was tough. I didn't sell really anything. And then I got COVID. So I'm desperate for some income. And I'm at a rock bottom with being sick. I have COVID. And I had all the symptoms. And I still hadn't made any money. And I go back to work after Christmas, a week before the year is over. Thank God. I had an incredible week. I sold a bunch of cars that week and made $10,000 in that 1 week, and blew my mind away. And I was so grateful, desperately needed it. All of our accounts and our savings were just so drained. And January had a good month, February had a good month. But then in March, things just started skyrocketing. And very humble to say, Violet and I combined are easily going to be over $250K this year. And that's why I feel like a financial success, because I went from zero, car being stolen, to now making more money than I ever had in my whole life. Luckily, with the Gus Financial Ignite course, the financial principles, we've saved and invested more than at least a third. We're now starting to save half of what we make, and it feels so good. And we're now starting to look at land and properties and investing and taking things financial to higher levels. But I definitely don't want to wait until I fully have made it to start making content. I want to start making content now. Throughout that entire journey, I've gotten so many lessons and so many cool stories to share. And this is also just going to be documenting, so that way I can look at this 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and just be proud that I did it. I plan to make a video every single week. I'll go live on Instagram, Facebook, or however else. Thank you to all those who jumped in. My cousin Mia, I see AJ on there. A few other people I don't know. But, again, I'm Antonio Sosa. I'm just a simple guy from El Paso, Texas. I hope to be a financial coach and subconscious mind and relationship coach, a fitness and health coach as well, mindset and spiritual coach, and help other people live the good life. And humble to say that a lot of times it just feels like me and Violet have created a heaven for each other, and just want to share and contribute. So if you've listened thus far, I thank you. All the watch time helps me grow and helps me get found. If you don't know, I have links to my YouTube channel, my TikTok. Actually, a word on TikTok. I was doing a daily Miracle Morning Challenge. The Miracle Morning is what I swear by and what I live by. It's one of the sources of all my success. I'll go into more of that later, but I got maybe 10 to 12 days in, and then I pretty much smashed my ankle. I have some TikToks on that. And that really threw me off. That really derailed my momentum. I felt down and I felt depressed a little bit because I'm so addicted to being go, 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 always on, hitting my goals, intensifying, tweaking things, and getting better. But 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And it was a period of reflection. I'm going to pick that back up again. It's a personal challenge to myself. I'm going to probably within the next 10 days pick up that Miracle Morning Challenge. If you want to be part of that challenge too, just reach out to me and I can help keep you accountable. It's a great thing if you want to make some changes in your life. And as always, I love you guys and thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That really does help with somebody growing their own channel and their audience. Share it to others, and see you guys on the next one. Peace.